Group 11 CEO Bart Jaworski is here to discuss today's drill results, which include 29.9 meters of 15.3% zinc lead at the Ballywire zinc, lead, silver, copper discovery in the Republic of Ireland. Please remember this is neither a recommendation nor investment advice. We're here to learn about the company. I'm Martin Gagel with Market Radius Research. Bart, welcome and nice numbers.
Thanks very much, Martin. Yeah, great to be on. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we had some very, very spectacular numbers this morning. As you mentioned, that 30-meter hit of 15% zinc and lead and over 500 grams per ton silver and 0.67% copper. So this is by far the best hole we've ever drilled since the inception
Nice.
of the company in 2015. So we're very, very happy with it. And there's a nice hot spot within that 30 meters, over 8.4 meters, which actually beats our old 6 meter number of nearly 1,000 grams per ton, 4% copper that we hit last May. We've actually gone above and beyond that now with today's results. So if you want, I'll just go through this
Please
presentation now
do.
and tell you all about it.
All right.
So just to remind you where we are in Ireland, we're here on the Rathdowney Trend in that yellow circle. I'm just going to zoom in on that yellow box, and of course, everything in blue there is Glencore. All that green area there is our own licenses. We have the dominant land position in this camp. We're 20 kilometers south of Glencore's Palace Green deposit. Palace Green, of course, is one of the largest zinc deposits in the world, undeveloped. 45 million tons, 8.4% zinc and lead. And right beside it, we have our own Stone Park deposit, which is higher grade and shallower than our neighbor. And of course, what we're talking about today is the Ballywire discovery there in the circle. So I'm going to just dive into that. And the state of play, Martin, that we had here in December, as per the last news release, was basically like so. So the red zone there is the massive sulfide. The pinks are other high-grade zones of mineralization that are different texture, and the greens, the deep greens, are the copper-silver mineralization. So we've had obviously mineralized hits, robust mineralization intersected over 2.6 kilometers. And last couple of press releases, we were talking about these new parallel zones that seem to be emerging from the latest drilling. So I'm just going to wipe the map here to clean it up a little bit and just show you what today's news is all about. The first piece of information is this hole here. It's an 80-meter step out from previous massive sulfides. And hopefully, if I'm toggling back and forth, you can see the red sort of growing towards that. And that's one of the key areas because it basically shows that's where the hit was, but it actually implies that there might be more mineralization in this direction. If you can see my sort of red line there blinking with a
Yeah.
question mark. So that could be why, we could expect to find more of this high grade mineralization. I'll show you why in a second. But before I do, let's just go into the cross section of this hole A to A prime. Look at that from the side, and there's the hole right there, hole 51. And we got this nice juicy 30-meter hit, 15% zinc lead, over 500 grams silver, and 0.67% copper. Fantastic. Within that was 4 meters of nearly 30% zinc and lead and 82 grams. But also within that intercept, lower down, is this 8.4 meters of 18% zinc and lead. But whatever about that, 1,776 grams per ton silver and 2.2% copper, as well as some antimony in there as well. So we had actually an intercept in there of 1.3 meters of 4,260 grams per ton silver. So this is the best silver kick out of over any distance that we've ever got on the property, and one of the highest in Ireland for sure, at that number. And as well as that came with 4.6% copper, 0.5% antimony. So just a fantastic intercept. Really, really nice to see. Nice to see it at the base of the wall sortian limestone, which is textbook Irish type. And of course, that's not even the main part of the hole because we drilled this hole for the copper silver target, which is down below. We weren't actually expecting to get this hit at all.
Oh, wow.
So this is just incidental because really what we're testing for is the copper silver mineralization underneath, which we're hoping to hit here. And we're by the way also going to be following this up with another hole down here. And based on those results, we might have two or three more holes along this section line. But of course, what we're trying to find down there, was that copper silver target, is what we were talking about back in December with these green areas that I'm flashing back and forth. Those are the copper silver feeders that we've now identified and proved that they exist with 3 drill holes. late last year, and that was basically 400 meters over from our current section, if you can see that here. So that's where those three holes were that showed that copper silver feeder system. And of course, that hole from May of 2025, May of last year, where we had 6 meters of nearly 1,000 grams per ton silver and nearly 4% copper is right there. So we're a good 300 to 400 meters over towards the southwest from that hole in today's news. So that's fantastic. And I'm just going to show you on either side of
Bart,
it. Yeah.
sorry. And just to clarify, that's about, it looked like about 300 meters deep where you hit that
Yeah,
mineralization.
that's about right. Yeah, all this
Okay.
mineralization is about that. Yeah, and I'll show you some more clarity on that little second. But yeah, that's about right. So this is not deep by any stretch. This is sort of shallow underground territory. So I'm going to show you a cross section to the left and to the right of today's section. So this is the one over towards the southwest, about 100
And
meters
these are
over.
his, you've announced these ones this is
Yeah,
not part of today's news
yeah.
release. Okay.
Exactly. This is just a little context. Back in November 23, we announced this section, and we had this 11 meters here of 9% zinc and lead and 83 grams. And of course, it was open, but we never went back to close it off. So that work remains to be done, and this is now lining up exactly to where today's hit is projecting. So that's why that's really interesting. And then that's why we think the zone might continue in that direction. And then on the other side, more towards the northeast by 80 meters, we had actually this hit from June of 24, not June last year, but June the June before that, and we had this 30-meter hit of 10% with 78 grams per ton silver and 0.15 copper. So that actually at that time, that was June 11th, I remember, 2024. That was a record breaker intercept for us. We've since had a few others, and now today's beats all of them. But that was a really, really solid hit at 30 meters at 10%. So we're sort of we've got very good hits on either side of us, and now we've got this extension of massive sulfides. So that's
What,
what's really
so,
got us excited.
so on those other ones, did you go down into that potential copper zone or you didn't explore down
No,
there?
at that point we were still sort of going
Okay.
along and exploring the more shallow, flat-lying zinc-rich massive zinc-rich mineralization, and it's
Yeah.
towards like basically last year where we started really testing for the deeper underneath the copper silver feeder structures. So the
Okay.
copper silver feeder story is really new
Yeah.
on this on this project. So that's the first piece of news. The second piece of news from today's news release is over here on the southwest. So these holes that I'm flashing in blue, and these are very interesting as well. So this is basically the section I'm about to show, B2B prime. And again, this is hundreds of meters. I guess just judging by this, it's maybe about 800, 900 meters towards the southwest from the hole we were just talking about. So this is quite a ways away. And basically, this is as it was before today and this is as of today. So what we did is we drilled this hole 19, and again at the base of the wall sorption limestone, that green unit, we got a 30-meter zone of mineralization. Within it, we got these four zones, roughly 3 meters thick, of solid mineralization. You know, we're talking sort of 10% or 7%, 6%, 7%. 5%, all with decent silver along with it. The top hit, I would say, is this guy over here, this 30 meters of, um, or 3 meters of 6.7% zinc lead and 55 grams per ton silver. So again, and four of those kind of stacked in a 30-meter thick zone. And again, this is quite interesting because this has been very, very poorly explored to date. And so this is our sort of first foray into this to try to feel out what's going on here. And just so you know, there is a hole here from the past that was drilled by previous operators, hole 5, if you will, and it had copper silver in it. So it had 4 meters of 100 grams silver and 0.43 copper. Its location, however, is a little bit, it's conflicting in the historic reports. One report shows it over here, one over here. So there's plus or minus 50 meters uncertainty on it. So we didn't put it in the cross section in the press release, but we noted it in the notes. But it's here as well, and it shows copper silver in the system. So we're additionally keen on this area because we just got this 30-meter hit, but also we know that there seems to be copper silver kicking around in this area as well. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing a lot more drilling there, as I'll show you in a second. And then also today, we announced basically this stretch of holes over here. So basically, th this over here. There we go. So that's also quite interesting because three holes all three mineralized, and there's a snippet of sort of higher grade mineralization over here, which is well off the base of the wall source. We don't typically see that. That usually means that we're far away, distal from the main action, which should be at the base of the wall source in limestone. But what it does show is that hey, there's definitely another zone cropping up here, and overall it shows basically we've got two zones of strong mineralization already. And then we've got these two zones over here that seem to be emerging into new zones of higher grade mineralization. This one is as of this morning. This is actually a hole over here on, if you can see my cursor on the deeper end here. That was our very first hole that we ever drilled here back in 2021. So we're sort of just going back to some unfinished business here. But that now, having learned everything we've learned, this looks like it's the start of a brand new zone. We've got two solid zones over here. This shallower zone also appears to be the start of something. So we'll be doing more drilling in those areas as well. So it's all shaping up very nicely. And of course, now we're talking about over 1 kilometer, 1,050 meters roughly of mineralization up and down dip. So remember, the trend of mineralization is going into the page and out of the page, 2.6K. This is going perpendicular to that, and we've got mineralization for about 1 kilometer here with more infill to be done, more exciting infill to be done because really it seems that there's a real system over here on this end of the discovery. So stay tuned for that, and these are the holes we're going to be following up with. So we're going to actually be testing for the deeper copper silver here with this hole. We're going to be following up here, and then this area is also very, very interesting for us because we think that there's this 30-meter zone that we just hit is probably not in isolation. We're probably on the side of some hopefully massive sulfides. So stay tuned for that. So that's the second piece of news today, and then the third piece of news, and this will be a quick one. Four holes about 200 meters over from the previous drilling, and all hit visible mineralization. And so it was visible mineralization, so anomalous. Certainly some sphalerite and galena kicking around, but also perhaps even more importantly is we found the fault extension. And so what that really basically tells us is we're on the right track as we're following towards the northeast, towards this gravity D anomaly over here. So these are actually holes that we're about to start drilling over here and over here. And this one over here specifically is going to be testing the D gravity anomaly, which I personally been sort of dying to get to all last year. We never got around to it. But now we're finally going to sink our teeth into the D gravity anomaly, and I'll show you that at the very tail end here. A few more slides to go, but just to put some numbers on it, there's also holes that we're working on the other side of the discovery, and to put some numbers on it, there's actually 11 holes right now that are in the queue in the pipeline. Four that are over here, which I showed you as part of that cross section. There's one that we're following up on today's hole 51. Three that are going to be in a fan shape over here. There's two on this section, and then one testing that gravity D anomaly. So 11 holes that are sort of in process right now.
And
And
when you say in process, they haven't been drilled yet. They're part of the plan or they're at the assay labs.
yeah, they're sort of either getting drilled right now or nearly finished and starting to
Okay,
get logged and sampled. And so it's a whole process, obviously, of drilling it
gotcha.
off. So there's four rigs on site right here, right now, four rigs. And
Yeah.
but basically, this is what's kind of immediately in front of us in terms of workflow. So it gives you guys a good idea as to what's going on the ground here in terms of immediate news flow sort of over the coming weeks. There's everything with all the labels, data labels. And just to summarize then very quickly, as you know, Martin, you may remember we have a 6 kilometer long trend defined by four gravity high anomalies. And basically the entire discovery so far is on one of those gravity anomalies, and that's the C gravity anomaly. So everything I talked about today is actually predominantly on the C gravity anomaly, hole 51 certainly. But these ones on the southwest are actually now starting to encroach more into B territory. And so that's quite interesting because we're just starting to sort of work on this area right now. And then obviously just to highlight the D gravity anomaly is over here. And that little blue dot is that hole that we're about to attempt. We're about to start. We haven't started that drill hole yet, but personally very, very keen to see what happens on that hole. So that's kind of the lay of the land as we speak. And just to leave you with the upcoming catalyst, obviously we're in the middle of a 25,000 meter program that started at the end of our Cormark-led bought deal last July. So we got a fully funded 25,000 meter drill program. From August 25, we hope to finish that sort of early 27. So we're funded for all this year, and we got there's a little bit of drilling that we're doing in the background at Stone Park. So we'll have some news on that as the sort of the year progresses, as the program progresses. But obviously the bulk of our work is going to be on Ballywire. But certainly a great day today in terms of results.
With the drilling that's going on, are you just going to keep the drills going, or once you get this portion of the program done, are you going to get all the data back, like sort of put a pause on the drilling, assemble it, assess it, and then sort of figure out what to do in phase two, or are you just going to, based on the data, just keep drilling and keep it moving?
Yeah. Yeah, the latter. What we typically do is just have a rolling program. There's no seasonality in Ireland, so we can drill
Yeah.
all year round. And we basically have those rigs out there. And then from each hole we learn, we integrate what we learn, and then we reassess where to go next. So it's a
Okay.
very iterative program and it's ongoing. So with four rigs is probably it's the most busy we've ever been with four rigs
Yeah.
on site. And we should continue that for the remainder of the year to sort of finish off that 25,000 meters.
And essentially, this data from the excluding the bottom part, which hasn't been assayed yet, was just so good that you wanted to get it out and then have that as a clear story. And then will we get that potential copper data in the next couple of weeks, or what could the timing for that be?
That hole's just getting finished. So yeah,
Okay.
we put that out because we had a over Christmas we had accumulated a lot of assays. Obviously, the lab was busy all through Christmas, thanks to them. So we had a lot of data, obviously, and we had this chunk of mineralization to report as well. But yeah, that
Yeah.
second part of the hole of 50, the bottom part of 51, yeah, I that's just hot off the presses in terms of the drill core is still the drill is still turning on that hole,
Oh,
and we're
okay.
just so it's still a ways before we log it, saw it in half, sample it, send it to the lab, and then lab turnaround times, which are 2 to 3 weeks typically, or more, depending. So yeah, still a ways for that, but again, we've got
Yeah.
other drill holes. 11 holes are sort of all in different stages of being ready to be released.
Obviously, you've got to collect more data and assess things, but on first glance, does this change maybe where you want to put some emphasis on drilling after these 11 holes? You want to explore that area some more, that whole, I guess, hole 51, or you still wait to see it till you get more data?
I think continue on. I think we'll definitely be, focusing in on the copper silver for sure, the deeper copper
Yeah.
silver. We'll see what happens at the bottom of hole 51 if that shows us more copper silver mineralization. Um, Copper and silver mineralization down there, yeah, then we may dedicate a little bit more. But we're sort of doing parallel processing right now. We're expanding out along that 6 kilometers, but also testing. Now it appears every 400 meters, so we're sort of testing for this deeper copper silver system. But certainly we want to find that copper silver as much as possible. So we'll be parallel processing on that front for sure, over the foreseeable future. Yeah.
And you are in Ireland right now, but you are coming to Canada. You're doing some marketing out here in my neck of the woods, correct?
That is correct. So it's going to be a very busy week. I'm flying on this Thursday to Vancouver for the MIF with Brian Lenny. Thanks to Brian Lenny for inviting us so to speak there on the Saturday morning. We'll be there for the Icebreaker as well with Neil Locke and Sean Kingsley, and that's a Gentile event. Most Gentile companies are going to be there. That's going to be quite exciting. VRIC and Roundup as well, and then I'm gonna do a day or two in Toronto as well after that. So it's going to be a very busy week and a half for me. So should be interesting.
Any final comments or thoughts before we wrap it up here?
No, I think that's it. So we could go into the interesting things going on with metals markets right now, but that's probably requires another podcast. So we'll probably leave it
Yeah.
there. But
All right, Bart. Thank you very much for that update. Congrats on that data, and looking forward to talking to you again soon.
excellent, Martin. Thanks for having me. Great talking to you.